So this past week, a massive toilet paper warehouse in California got completely destroyed by fire, just completely wiped out. And the crazy part is it wasn't an accident. It wasn't like some kind of faulty wire or gas leak, but an actual employee did this on purpose. But not only did he do this on purpose, but he filmed himself doing it and he posted it on social media. So there's this viral video going around of this guy walking around the warehouse just casually lighting toilet paper pallets on fire one by one. And while he's doing that, he's talking to the camera and he's like, all you had to do is pay us enough to live. And then at the end of the video, as the whole corridor of the warehouse is just engulfed in flames, he goes, there goes your inventory. And then he also says, all you had to do is pay us enough to live. And I think that's why it got so much traction, because that's the whole motive of what he was doing in the first place. And I think the reason it hit so hard is because a lot of people have thought some version of that exact sentence before. Maybe not to the point of burning something down, but that feeling of working until you're super fucking tired and not able to make ends meet. It's pretty common today, and that's just millions of Americans right now. And this dude's coworkers are probably screwed. They're probably going to be on like some sort of paid leave or transferred to a different warehouse somewhere else. Or worse, they're probably out of a job because the whole warehouse just burned down. And right now the job market is super bad. It's horrible right now. As for the employees that had nothing to do with that, they might not have a job anymore unless they have some sort of paid leave, or like I said, they got transferred to a different warehouse. So while he was trying to make a statement, he ended up making life harder for himself and others. And as for the company the warehouse belonged to, they identified other shipping locations and made it clear that there wouldn't be a shortage of their products. In other words, they were going to be fine. The building is insured. I'm pretty sure the inventory is insured as well. But I mean, they took a hit financially for sure. But a corporation like Kimberly-Clark, which is the toilet paper company, is a multi-billion-dollar company, and it's not going to crumble because one distribution center got burned down. They're going to collect that insurance check, relocate their operations, rebuild their warehouse, and just move on. And I'm all for what this guy's trying to do. I mean, he's trying to get a livable wage and just make ends meet. But the way he executed it was not the smartest way to go about it. Now let's talk about the cost of living, because that's really what this whole thing is about. California is one of the most expensive places to live in this entire country, and it has been for a while. It's just not expensive anymore. It's gone way out of hand. But I say that living here. I see it every single day. You go to the grocery store and you're spending money on a cart of food that would have cost you significantly less than just a few years ago. I mean, the gas prices as well, they're consistently among the highest in the nation here in California. Or if you want to go out to eat for some fast food or whatever, it's like 10, 12, 15, depending on where you go. And the average rent is like $2,000 for one bedroom, so it's not even in the nicest areas either. It's just the baseline. And this isn't just a California problem either. It's happening around everywhere, all over the country. Even around the world too. Which brings me to what I think is the most important part of this whole topic, the nothing to lose mentality. And I want you to really think about this, because I think this is the key to understanding not just this incident, but what's coming if things don't change. So for example, let's take two different people. Person A has a good job, a decent salary, some savings in the bank, maybe a family, a home, and something that they're looking forward to. That person has everything to lose, and they have something worth protecting. Now let's take a look at person B. Person B is working full-time and still can't afford rent. They have no savings, no safety net, no clear path to anything better. Every month is a struggle just to keep the lights on. But what does that person have to lose, right? If your life already feels like a punishment, the fear of punishment loses its power. And right now, the cost of living crisis is taking more and more people and moving them from the person A category into the person B category. And this desperation changes how people think and act. They get into this survival mode. So from the standpoint of actually making things better, it didn't really work. At least for that situation. Burning something down has never made a corporation pay people more money. But this is just going to cause a domino effect, if anything. There's going to be people doing similar actions, like burning down their jobs maybe, or their warehouses, and retaliating against the companies that they work for. But it's creating pressure. It's creating this economic pressure and political pressure that companies have no choice to change. So I think in the short term, it didn't work, because they're not going to pay people more wages after one little incident. But I think it's going to be like some sort of snowball effect. But in the long term, there will be some changes, because it's not just going to be a one and done deal, like, oh, he's going to burn this warehouse down and that's it. Nothing else is going to come from it, because there's definitely going to be some sort of domino effect. But when people are in survival mode, they're not thinking about long-term strategy. They're not thinking about organizing and going out there to protest for systemic changes. They're thinking about the present, like right now. They're thinking about how they're going to pay this month's rent and this week's groceries and how they're going to make it work. But I'm not shocked that this happened, and I don't think you should be either. The only shocking thing about this was how much time it took for something like this to happen. Like, I honestly thought something like this would take place like last year, maybe like early 2025 or 2024, around there, something like that. Because what's happening right now with the wages and the prices and the state of the working class in this country, this warehouse fire makes complete sense. But something like this was inevitable, especially when you underpay someone for long enough, or when you make it impossible for them to get ahead. Eventually, some of them are going to snap. And the question isn't whether it's going to happen again, but how many times it has to happen before something actually changes. This guy's approach could have been better, but he wasn't wrong about the problem. And until this problem gets addressed, guys like him are going to follow in his footsteps and burn down their warehouses as well. Or probably do something worse, but we'll see. And the next time it might not even be a warehouse. It could be something crazier. I don't even know. Alright, so at the time of me recording this, there's been like 5 more warehouses that have gone up in flames, and one of them being Amazon. So take that as you will. It's happened in Cali, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, I think New Jersey. And I called it. I knew this was going to happen. People are already following in his footsteps. But until we see some sort of change, or these companies want to start giving their workers a livable wage, this is just going to keep occurring. But that's all. Later.